This is English Literature Wave. I am Prof.L.B.Gayakawad talking on plot. It is the topic plot part 1. E.M. Forster says. Who is E.M. Forster? E.M. Forster is the critic in English literature. So E.M. Forster says a story is a narrative of events chronologically. It means that as per E.M. Forster, the story means the story of the novel is a narrative. Narrative means it is the storytelling, means the writer, the novelist tells the story, that is called the narrative. Narrative means speaking of the writer, writing of the writer, narrating of the writer, means the writer narrates, the writer speaks about his characters, about his story, that is called the narrative. So a story is a narrative of events. It means that there are many events and it is the narrative of the events. Chronologically means with order, with sequence. Chronologically means with sequence, with order. It means that there is the first episode, there is the second episode, then there is the third episode, fourth episode, fifth episode, like this. This is called the chronologically event or the chronologically order. So according to E.M. Forster, a story is a narrative of events chronologically. It means that the writer writes his story with the events, with the incidents. It means that with the episodes he writes his story. Chronologically means one by one he writes his story, that is called the chronologically story. It means the novelist narrates, means tells. It means the novelist narrates, means tells episodes after episode. There means in the story. It means there is the novelist and that novelist narrates, means that novelist tells one episode after second episode in the story, that is called the chronological story. Plot is also same narrative of events like the story. Now we are talking about the plot of the story. So what is the plot? The plot is also same narrative. Same narrative means like this. Same narrative means the narrative of events chronologically. So plot is the same narrative, or plot is also the same narrative of events. Events means of incidents, of episodes, one occasion after another occasion. So in this way there are many occasions in the plot, episodes in the plot, incidents in the plot, events in the plot, and that's why plot is also same narrative of events like the story. It means that the story and the plot are up to some extent similar. Means the plot is also like the story and the story is also like the plot. And so here is the explanation that the plot is also the same narrative of events like the story. For example, she died, he died, and people took them to cemetery. She died, he died, and people took them to cemetery is a story. So what is the story? Here is the definition of the story. Here is the sequence of the story. What is the sequence? At first she died. What is the story? What is the sequence? At first she died, and then he died, and then people took them. Them means people took her and him to the cemetery. Means here this is the story, and this story is happening one by one. It means that at first she died. Means this is the first incident or first event that she died first. Second incident is there, he died, and the third incident is there that the people took them to the cemetery. It is the story. So what is the story? The story happens one by one. One by one means what? The story happens with the one by one episode. Means at first, the first episode or the first element or the first event happens, and then the second happens. So the story is described here in this way that she died, then he died, and people took them to the cemetery is a story. So this is the definition of the story, or this is the system of the story in the novel or in the plot. Then, but she and he died of sorrow is the plot. So what is the plot? The plot is that she and he died of sorrow is the plot. Means what is the plot? The plot is the reason. Means she died, he died. Why did they die? They both died because of the sorrow, and that's why this sorrow is the reason, and so reason is the plot. So what is the plot? She died and he died of sorrow is the plot. Thus the story happens chronologically. It means that there is the particular chronology, or there is the particular sequence or order of the events, and in this way the story happens chronologically, that is episode after episode. Episode after episode, it means at first the first episode happens, then the second happens, or at first the first event happens and then the second event happens. So it is called chronologically, that is one by one episodes or one by one event. That is called the chronologically happening of the story. So thus the story happens chronologically, that is the episode after episode, and the plot shows the reason or why. The plot shows the reason or why. It means that the plot shows in the story the exact reason of the story. Why this story happened in the novel is the plot. Means the plot is the reason of the story. So here is the reason, she and he died of sorrow. Means sorrow is the reason, and that's why here is said that the plot shows the reason, that is why. Means why did she and he die? So the answer is she and he died of sorrow. So sorrow is the reason, and because of this reason they both died, and that is called the why, or that is called the reason, and that's why the explanation is that the plot shows the reason why, or the reason, and the story shows the episode after episode, or the story shows the sequence, or the story shows the chronological order. That is the explanation in the plot. Then the novel is a story. The novel is a story. Means every novel is called a story. The novel is a story with interest. With interest means there is the interest of the writer, there is the interest of the people, there is the interest of the characters, and only for the interest of the character, because the literature is written only for the interest of society, and that's why the novel is the piece of literature, and that's why it is said that the novel is a story with interest and teaching to man. Teaching to man, it means there is the particular teaching, means the novel teaches the persons, means the novel is written by the novelist to give some lesson, to give some teaching, means the novelist teaches society through his novel, and that's why it is said that the novel is a story with interest and teaching to man. The plot is the raw material of the story. Uh, uh, Understand this carefully, that the plot is the raw material of the story. The raw material of the story, it means that here I will say she and he died of sorrow, means sorrow is the exact reason of the story, means the story happened because of the sorrow, and there was the sorrow, and that's why she and he died, and then the story happened. How did the story happen? The story happened like this: she died, he died, and people took them to the cemetery, and that's why here we can say that the plot is the raw material of the story, because the plot is there, so the story is there, means only because of this plot the story happens, means the novelist can write his story only because of this plot, because this plot is the raw material of the story, means I will say that this sorrow is the plot, and this sorrow is the reason, and only because of this sorrow she died and he died, and then people took them to the cemetery and the story happened. So that's why it is very clear that the plot is the raw material of the story. The plot shows the real life of the society. It means that the plot is there which shows the real life of the society. The real life of the society, it means that what is happening in society, that is called the real life of the society, and that real life of the society is described, is told by the plot. It means that the plot is related with the real life of the society. It means that the plot is related with the real life of the persons in society, and that's why in the plot the characters are taken from the society. All the persons, all the men and women, animals are taken as the characters in the plot, and that's why the plot shows the real life of the society. It values the real human life with problems and dreams. What is the explanation? The plot values. So, what is the function of the plot there? The function of the plot there is that the plot values, means the plot gives the importance to the real human life, not false human life. Though there is the false human life, but still that false human life is also the presentation of the reality of life, and that's why the plot values the real human life with problems and dreams. Means there are the problems and there are the dreams of the persons and animals, and that's why here is the words that problems and dreams, and so the plot values the real human life with problems and dreams. The novelist shows the plot. It means that there is the novelist, there is the writer, that is called the novelist. The novelist means the writer who writes the novel is called the novelist. So there is the novelist, and the novelist shows the plot, and that plot is shown by him with the characters, means there are the characters. In the plot there are the characters. if there are no characters in the plot, then that plot will not happen and the story will not happen. So the characters are very important in the plot and in the story. And so the explanation is that the novelist shows the plot with the characters, which are true from the society of man. Means these characters are the true characters from the society of man. Means the novelist takes these characters, exactly real characters from the society of man, and these characters are the real identifications or the real I will say mirror of the society, and that's why the characters which are the true from the society of man, means the characters are the exact mirror of man's life, that is called here. So the novels of loose plot, now we are talking on the loose plot novels. So the novel of loose plot means there are some novels, those novels have the loose plots, and so now there is the point of the loose plot novels, and so the novels of loose plot show the unlinked incidents. It means that if there is the loose plot novel, or if the plot of the novel is loose, loose means what? This is unlinked incidents. Means in the plot, the incidents, the evidence, or I will say not evidence, I will say sorry, events. So the events or the incidents are unlinked. Unlinked means they are not properly linked with each other. In that plot, the all the incidents or events are not properly linked with each other. Means the novelist does not view them, or the novelist does not knit them properly, or the novelist does not write them properly linked. Linked means they are not joined properly with each other. Those incidents or those events are not properly linked with each other, and that's why that plot is called the loose plot. And so the novels of loose plot show the unlinked incidents without logical connection. Without logical connection means there is no logical connection. Why? Because the total incidents are unlinked, the total events are not joined properly, they are not joined exactly in order or chronologically, and that's why they are without the logical connection. And if those incidents or events are joined correctly, chronologically, or one by one, 1, 2, 3, like this, if the incidents are joined properly, the novels of loose plot is not there, or that novel is called the ideal novel, because all the incidents, events are joined there properly, are joined there in a sequence, in an order, or in other words I will say chronologically everything is joined there, and that's why that novel is called the ideal novel. Organic novel means there is the organic plot, there is the ideal plot. But if the novels, if the novel is there and the incidents are not joined properly, means if the incidents are unlinked, then those novels are called the loose plot novels. And in this way, the novels of loose plot show the unlinked incidents without logical connection. The hero of the loose novel is a common poor man. Means the hero of the loose novel is always a common man, a poor man. Means he is not the moral person, he is not the noble person, or he is not the great person. He is not any saint. he is only a poor man, a common man, uncivilized person, uncultured person. In this way, the hero of the loose novel is a common poor man. He is a roaming character. Roaming character means what? This character roams or wanders from place to place, and if the character is roaming from place to place, it is very clear that this is not the moral character, because when that character roams from one place to the second place, the moralism of that character goes away. Means that character comes into problems, or that character comes into misadventures. It means that that character does very bad things in the journey, because that character wanders from one place to the second place, and while journeying like this character steals something, this character does some bad activities, and that's why this character cannot be the real character, or I will say the ideal character, the cultured character, the civilized character, and that's why he is a roaming character, a rogue. That character is called a rogue character. And a rascal character means that character is a silly character, foolish character, or a rascal character, because that character has no any kind of culture. That character does anything, living morals, living cultures, and that's why this character is a rascal character without culture and moral. Means that character has no any kind of culture and moral, because while going from one place to the second place, that character thinks of his stomach only. That character does not think of culture and civilization, and that's why this character is a rascal character, this character is a rogue character, or this character is a roaming character. That is the point. He only does misadventures. It means that such a character only goes through the misadventures. Misadventures means he does the adventures, but those adventures are wrong adventures, bad adventures. It means that this character will not help the woman, but this character will trouble the woman. Or if there is some goodness, this character will try to finish that goodness. Or if woman is there, he can rape that woman. Means that character can rape that woman. If that character is raping that woman, that is the misadventure. So such characters does only the misadventures there in this story, and that's why these characters are the roaming characters, rogue characters, or the rascal characters, and so such characters are there. That's why these novels are having the loose plot, and these novels are called the loose plot novels. Charles Dickens' novel is David Copperfield, and this David Copperfield is the novel by Charles Dickens, is the example of the loose novel. Means here we can say that David Copperfield is the novel which has the episodes, and episodes. Means it is the wide book. Means there are books, and means I will say there are many books. That novel, David Copperfield has written that novel with books. Means it is not the limited novel, it is the wide novel, or it is the vast novel, and that's why the main hero in this novel is running from one place to the second place, and that's why this Charles Dickens David Copperfield is the novel which has the loose plot, and that is the best example of the loose novel. So here today we have finished our topic plot part 1. Thank you very much.